What's going on, everyone? This is Johnny First back with another video, and today we'll be gonna go into depth real quick on some of the topics they went over on the early access roadmap for season 1. I kind of assume you guys saw plenty of first impressions videos and reviews of the early access roadmap, and you guys of course probably read this yourself. So instead, in this video, I'm gonna go over just some of the topics I think have a lot of implications to give us some insight on some of the exciting stuff we're gonna be able to dive into these next few months for early access for Predecessor. So of course the big thing is they revealed the next 4 heroes: Countess, Revenant, Shinbi, and Huntress. And I think these 4 heroes they've chosen are actually done on a very purposely, I would say. Because as much as I love to have Juan back in the game, I think what the 4 heroes they chose to release for the next few months are actually really smart. Because in our current roster of 20 heroes, we are really lacking the magical assassin and magical duelist characters. Because in the offlane, for example, it's very predominantly physical based heroes, which are Feymalkaloi, Grux, and Crunch, which are like the assassins and the duelists. And the only magical kind of heroes we have in the offlane are the tanks, which is Steel, Richter, and Sevlog. So there's definitely right there as an example, there's some lack of other kinds of magical heroes, like a magical assassin, for example, because both Countess and Shinbi back in Paragon, they were kind of like the magical melee assassins in that game. So I think what these 2 heroes especially, they're gonna add a lot of spice to variety of hero roles in the roster. Because who knows, maybe I think back in Paragon they were like mid laners, but they're also playing offlane. But I know you can also play them in jungle and Paragon. So it'll be very interesting to see where these 2 are placed. But either way, having more hero diversity and damage types is gonna be really beneficial to having more varied games. And so the other important thing, of course, is Revenant and Huntress, and both of them are carries. Revenant is the OG carry character back in Paragon, and Huntress is something they announced to be the first original hero that's going to be a carry. So definitely having 2 more carries is going to be really beneficial, because we only have 3 carries right now, which is the Sparrow, Murdoch, and the Drongo. So definitely having these 2 in will add 5, and that's going to really make the bot lane a lot more variety and matchups you have. So it's going to definitely make the games feel a little bit different from game to game with more of these picks overall. And I think the other big thing I want to just quickly go over is they said that the player level we see right now in game will actually be reset at the end of this first season. So end of March, I assume, is when the season ends, the player level will reset. And this is something that some people may have some conflicted opinions on. But I think overall it's actually not bad, because they said really down here that they're still working on things like in-game play progression. So they really are trying to put some thought and play in the in-depth and rewarding play progression. It's just not ready yet for the first season of early access. So for a compromise, they are doing like a kind of progression reward system that's kind of temporary in the form of this mini battle pass, where we get exclusive profile icons and skins, and we get coins if we keep grinding out after that. So I think for sure I think it's definitely worth grinding out the level, so at least get the Huntress skin. That'll be really sick. But I think season 2 is where we're gonna actually see a very well-made player progression system. So this is something we definitely want to hold the story accountable for, and hope that by the time season 2 hits, we have a very good player progression system that's permanent and not a form of a battle pass that we reset every season. And another big thing is public API. This is huge. This is what people will need to actually better evaluate the current meta in the MOBA. And so I know meta is something that not everyone would care about, but since this is a MOBA, and there'll always be a meta even for like the lower MMR people. So those who are more casual but still want to have a bit idea who's kind of strong right now, you need a public API to do so, because we'll be able to see the win rates of different heroes and what items are being picked the most, and all these other stats that really give us a good picture of just raw data of what's actually happening in the meta. Because right now there are different like opinions of which heroes are strongest right now, but we can't verify that without the raw data, right? So the public API is really gonna make theory crafting and tier list making a lot better, I would say. Another thing is creep score bounties. This is something that it may raise some eyebrows, but essentially, League of Legends have this similar feature where, along with kill streak bounties, where someone's 8-0, you kill them, you get a bunch of gold from that kill. So they're adding creep score bounties where if someone is 300 CS at like 25 minutes, I think they're gonna get something like a creep score bounty where they won't necessarily have all the kills, but because it's still so much stronger than the rest of the players in the match, they're gonna get a creep score bounty for them, because I think it's just to kind of prevent, it's to provide incentive to actually going against really strong targets, right? So like right now in the game, for example, currently, I can just perma split push as Grux, and I may only have 2 kills, but I can have 300 CS really like at 25 minutes in the game. And so that's something that people don't want to deal with me. If I don't have a bounty, people don't want to deal with 300 CS Grux, right? And so this is to provide incentive to kind of go for riskier plays, like high risk, high reward, where I'm gonna be focused more by the enemies, but if they do get the kill on someone with a creep score bounty, that can help bring. It's kind of like a combat mechanic in the sense. It's to be able to punish players who are just only farming and give enemies a chance to have a meaningful reward to go against a really high priority target. So I wouldn't be surprised if eventually we get different kind of bounties. I know League of Legends have objective bounties, but we have to wait to see if there's other kind of bounties the team may want to tinker around with later in early access. And one other big thing, well, 2 of them actually, but one of them is Fainton's buff improvements. They didn't say much, but they said we are spicing up the Fainton's buff so the objective has more depth and greater comeback potential. Because right now the Faintus it gets the job done, it helps you close out games and make you really strong, but it's kind of bland because all it is really at the 3rd and 4th Faintus is just stat boost. It's not something you can't visually see, and it's just kind of there, right? So I think they're trying to do something similar to League of Legends where there are different like dragons. So like so essentially I think the Faintus we have in the game is heavily inspired by the Drakes in League of Legends because they work very similarly. Where like different Drakes will spawn in from game to game, and these have different 4 tier buffs where you can get movement speed while you use your ultimate. You can just have an overall massive attack power boost. You can have a lot more healing back. It's just, I think the Faintus, what they're talking about is they want to make the Faintus a little bit more spicier in the sense that they want to have a more visually like showing like buffs that the enemy team has 4 Faintus on and are very, very strong. And so I think there's just another way to also vary from game to game, because I think having different buffs from the game team while add some RNG, I think as long as all the different kind of buffs are strong in their own way, it can make the games like a little bit more, have more variety in them. So it's not the same buffs you always get Faintus. It could be slightly different, give different bonuses and make the games a little more enjoyable. So I think that's something they're trying to go for Faintus. And compared to Knights, this is something that I'm definitely looking forward to, and when they release that, I'm definitely gonna do whatever. I don't know if it's a tournament, we don't know if it's a temporary ranked game mode, we have to wait and see. But this is something I really want to do because I feel like I can get some really good, high quality gameplay for you guys with this. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And last 2 big things I want to go over is custom games. I think custom games is huge because they allow people to host their own tournaments, competitive tournaments for Predecessor. This can really help get the competitive environment up and going once there's custom games in the game. And lastly, spectator mode. It doesn't sound like a big deal. Most people don't use spectator mode. But what happens is with spectator mode, you get to have people like A-Lit to be able to make these really, really good edited videos of a Paragon / Predecessor. If you don't know him, he was actually one of the most well-known content creators, I would say, back in Paragon. His videos were a ton of fun to watch, and he made all this on the spectator mode, and the and the game ideas people send him, and you just go in and do all these shots. Really well made. I would definitely give some of these a shots if you guys get the time. But I think this is just a huge potential for content creation and add some more variety in the content you guys will see in Predecessor. And one last thing is they did tease a second Predecessor hero that they're currently developing. So I'm really excited to see which who's the next original hero they're gonna be. I think it's just really cool. They've already been doing that already. So I'm expecting that season 2 will start off strong with the second new Predecessor hero, and hopefully we get to see more other returning heroes back in Paragon. But that's it from me. I really hope you guys enjoyed this kind of breakdown. Let me know if you really enjoyed this kind of concise kind of summary of some of the big highlights, and you guys enjoy hearing some of my thoughts and some of the implications you can actually get away when you look a little bit deeper on some of the stuff they're teasing throughout here. So definitely let me know down in the comments if you want me to keep making these kind of videos for future big update notes like this one. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.